Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. We get into camping, overlanding, and outdoor adventuring so we can eat food in cool places. Well, I guess you can say that's just more of a personal bias for me, but if you do relate, let me know down in the comment section below. Personally, I'm always looking for devices and gadgets to help elevate my adventures. Now, sometimes these products are misses, sometimes they are hits. Nonetheless, I like to share them with you guys if you're also looking for products to help elevate your adventures. So when OutIn reached out to me to review their portable espresso machine, I jumped all over it. Let's talk about some of the key features and also my use cases with this product over the last week and see if this thing is what it is all cracked up to be. Now, the footprint of this is already something that I'm very intrigued with, and the fact that it also has its own heating element in it. That means I don't have to pack a heating source of some sort if I don't want to. Now, the thing is, with a small unit like this, the battery doesn't really last that long, but it still is pretty impressive. You can brew up to 4 to 5 cups of a single shot of espresso. If you want to do double shots, there is a piece of upgraded kit that I will talk to you guys about later on. Now, if you're like, hey, 4 to 5 cups, that ain't enough. I brew that in just one morning. I feel ya. You can opt to use an external water heating source like a jet boil, or like in my case, I use the Joule kettle pot. You can heat your water and this will brew up to 200 cups of espresso at that point, which is pretty great. But there's the catch-22 there. Is that rechargeable battery really worth it? Now, I will leave that up to you to make that decision for yourself. Now, they claim that this is giving you a 20 bar pressure if you've never used espresso machines or anything like that. Essentially, that pressure helps you understand how your machine is going to extract the espresso and give you that rich, creamy flavor that you're looking for from your espresso shots. Now, the build of the device feels really solid in the hands. This thing feels like it can take a beating. I really like this paint job. They do have some other colorways out there. Overall, it's really simple. There's just the one charging port here on the back for recharging your battery and the single-use button. This little plastic coffee cup feels really good. It attaches on solid. It doesn't give like any leaking or anything like that. It makes a nice audible sound when it clips in. Seems like there's like an O-ring or some sort in there to help make sure that this isn't going to slip off. You actually have to give it some force to get that cup to pull off, so a nice quality there. By unscrewing this is where you get to your device to put your coffee in. So this is the one for actually putting ground coffee beans into. They also have one that came with the kit that is for using a Nespresso pod or any other pods that can go in an espresso machine. You can use this. Again, all of that feels really solid, and I like how it all packs up into one device. Up top here is where your water gets poured into when you're making your espresso. It has some markings right here that tells you the different measurements for the water, which is a nice feature when you're looking to brew a specific espresso shot. Now, that is just the general impressions. Obviously, I'm telling you a lot of the marketing lingo, just giving you some impressions of the overall build quality of this. They can say it's simple to use, they can say it produces good espresso, but does it? Now, by using this for over the last couple of weeks, I can confidently say that it does a pretty darn good job. But there is one little annoying thing that I have run into that I'll talk with you guys about later on. Now, a caveat is what I'm going to focus on is the brew itself from this machine. I'm not going to focus on some of the other external factors. There's so much that goes into a solid tasting espresso. Having fresh beans, freshly grinding those beans, you name it. We're looking at just the extraction process here. And again, the overall use of it, super simple. Now, I've made quite a few cups of espresso with this using the ground beans, which is my preferred method. From just taking a straight espresso shot to making lattes, to making cappuccinos, to making like Americanos, all of the fancy coffee drinks you want to make out there. And overall, everything tasted really good. All of the crema, all of that extraction smelled delicious. It looked great. It had that nice white creamy top. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with the process of using the Nespresso pod adapter. Now, obviously, that's not going to be as fresh as freshly grinding your beans, but if you're needing a smaller, cleaner setup, because honestly it was frankly a lot cleaner, there's no cleanup process afterwards, you just recycle the little pod again. Actually tasted pretty darn good and extracted really well too, so I could see myself using that in a pinch if I needed to, but I prefer the process of grinding my beans and brewing it that way. And again, I'm not even really talk about the difference between flavor profiles of the Nespresso to the ground beans, because there's more than just what this can do that affects the flavor. So that's gonna be a preference thing. I was impressed though with how this brewed both of those. Now, I will say that I do actually like using the heating element inside of this more than heating up water and pouring that in. And the reason is this is designed to put the water to a temperature that is for maximum espresso extraction or maximum brewing. Your water heaters are just going to boil that water to specific temperature and it's not going to be as dialed in. Now I'm nitpicking here. Still tasted great. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I could even really taste a difference, but the fact that I can just pour this in and make that espresso, yeah, this is a no-brainer for me. Now, one thing I do want to look into is the upgraded basket that OutIn has. This upgraded basket allows you to pull double shots rather than a single shot. That is something that I'm going to probably personally look to invest into to add to this coffee machine. Now let's talk about one of the things that annoyed me about this, and some of this is my user error. I didn't have a scale with me to measure out how much coffee that I was putting in the machine. You need about 6 grams of espresso for the basket that I have, and if I had too much, the machine wasn't able to push that espresso through and pull the shot, which that's not a complete OutIn thing. That happens with my device at home too. If it has too much pressure and there's too much compaction, whatever term you want to use, it's not going to pull that espresso shot. So that's one of the things I'm going to do is put a scale back in the van so I can measure this out, or at least give myself a better idea of where it sits, so I'm not putting too much in there. The other thing that annoyed me is also some user error here. Sometimes when you would pull, after you go to clean it and clean out everything, when you pull this out, these two elements would separate. The element that holds the coffee and the element that seals to go into the portafilter. And when that would happen, it would get coffee beans and grounds all inside of here, which made later on getting this unscrewed very difficult. It would get stuck and I would have to sit there and really grind to try to get this open. Now, I go camping in the winter a lot. It's actually the main time I use my rig. If I'm out there and it's cold and I have cold hands and I'm trying to get this thing opened up, I'm probably gonna freaking throw it through a window because that would be very annoying. So that would be the only thing, is to make sure that you don't let coffee grounds get in there and that you clean that thoroughly every time, which is a good habit anyway. Again, I'm gonna take some personal responsibility for that, but definitely something that I noticed. I don't even say a con, but just something to be aware of. Now, would I recommend this? Well, before I give you my answer, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First, if you found value in this or entertainment or anything, hit that like button down below. Second, if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Riley Clark. I am a full-time nature photographer, and I like to do product reviews like this, but I also like to take you guys out on my adventures with me in the backcountry. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, come join the community. Now, if you're somebody who is looking for some creature comforts of home out on the road, I definitely recommend this. If you are somebody who likes espresso, I definitely recommend this. Now, I know there's gonna be a lot of people out there that's gonna say, like, why would you need something like that to go camping? Or we don't need all this tech to go camping. And yes, for me personally, how many times a year I spend time on the road, and that this is also a part of my work, having some creature comforts like this is a must for me. If not, I go freaking crazy when I'm out here for weeks on end. So I definitely need something like this. Now, this is definitely going into my kit immediately, and I will be using this. So you guys will definitely be seeing more of this on the channel because yeah, I just really enjoy it. It's that good. And the fact it's so small. I mean, the fact that it's smaller than some of my water bottles. I can fit this even in my pack if I want to. If you guys see, a lot of times I have a water bottle sitting in my pack when I'm out walking. I could throw this in right there. I could have it already all set up, and when I get to my destination to take a photo, I could brew a shot of espresso right there. That's pretty awesome that I can do that. So if you guys are interested in checking one of these out for yourself, OutIn is kind enough to offer you guys a 10% discount by using the code down below. Also, there is an affiliate link down below. If by purchasing one of these through that link, a small percentage is going to get kicked back to me. There's no extra cost to you. It's just a great way to support the channel. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Is this something you find yourself maybe wanting to use, or have you used it? What are your use cases? Also, what is your favorite way to make coffee when you're out camping in the great outdoors? Frankly, a good old percolator is hard to beat still, but something bougie like this is going to make life a lot easier. If you want to see the first time that I used this as well as my last adventure in the field, well, this video right here is gonna be that video for you. I have a ton of in the field content getting ready to hit the channel here soon, as I am really busy right now on the road. I will see you guys though in the next adventure.